Hello students, in this video we will discuss about the layout of diesel power plant. Here you can see the complete layout of diesel power plant. The essential components of diesel power plants are diesel engine, air intake system, fuel system, engine starting system, exhaust system, lubrication system, cooling system, and the last one is the governing system. Let us now see the importance and functioning of each components. The first one is diesel engine. The diesel engine is kept inside an engine room. In the engine room, a foundation is laid. On the foundation, the diesel engine is installed. The diesel engine is multi-cylinder type. The output of the diesel engine is coupled to the generator which produces electricity. So diesel engine is the main component of the power plant which develops the required power. It is generally directly coupled to the generator. Here you can see diesel engine coupled to generators and installed inside an engine room. This is the engine room and this is the diesel engine. Here you can see a smaller type of diesel power plant. The next one is the air intake system. From the atmosphere, the air is passed through the air filter, then to the diesel engine. The air intake system supplies fresh air to diesel engine. The air system begins with an intake located just outside the building provided with an air filter. The air filter must be located close to the roof of the engine room. Lightweight steel pipe is the material for intake ducts. The next one is the fuel system, the fuel tank. The fuel oil is delivered at the plant site by trucks, railroad tank cars or tankers. From the tanker or truck, the delivery through the unloading facility to main storage tanks. The fuel storage tank stores minimum capacity of at least a month's requirement of fuel. So in this tank, we will store the oil at least for 1 month's requirement. From this fuel tank, the fuel is supplied through the fuel filter and it is pumped now to the day tank by the transfer pumps. The fuel day tank supply the daily fuel need of engines and contains a minimum of 8 hours of oil requirements of the engine. These tanks are placed high so that oil may flow to engines under gravity. So in the fuel tank, we store the oil for a month. In the day tank, we store the oil for at least 8 hours. And the day tank is located somewhat higher because the fuel can flow under gravity. So the tanks, they contain manholes for internal access and repair sometimes. From the day tank, the fuel is supplied to the engine through the filter. The filter which is filtering the fuel here removes the dirt particles which will plug the injection nozzle orifices. So high grade oil filters are important to filter the diesel fuel. After filtering, the fuel is again pumped to the common rail pipe here. From there, a metered quantity of fuel is injected using the fuel injector. So this is the fuel system, and the fuel injection system is the mechanical heart of diesel engine. So it's a very important. And the overflow of fuel is again sent back to the fuel tank. The next is the engine starting system. The methods commonly used to start large and medium size engines are: you can start by using an auxiliary engine, additional small engine. You can use starter motors. You can use compressed air also. So here, whenever the diesel power plant is of a bigger capacity, larger capacity, it is better to go for the compressed air system. So here, the compressed air, which is compressed in the air compressor to about 17 bar, is supplied to the air tank. From the air tank, the compressed air is supplied to the engine cylinders, not to all the engine cylinders, only to few engine cylinders, making the engine shaft to run. When the piston starts reciprocating, fuel is admitted in the remaining cylinders, and this ignites in normal way, causing the engine to start. So this is how we use the compressed air to start a diesel engine. Next is the exhaust system. The exhaust system discharges the engine exhaust gases to the atmosphere outside the building. So the exhaust is now taken outside the engine room, and this exhaust manifold connects the engine exhaust outlet to the exhaust pipe, which is provided with a muffler to reduce the pressure in the exhaust line and eliminate most of the noise which may result if gases are discharged directly into the atmosphere. So here the exhaust is not directly passed to the atmosphere, it is passed through the silencer to reduce the noise. The exhaust pipe leading out of the building should be short in length with minimum number of bends. The next is the lubrication system. Lubrication system is to reduce friction and wear between the parts having relative motion. One of the main functions of lubrication is to protect bearings against corrosion. Lubricating oil from lubricating oil tank is pumped under pressure to the various parts requiring lubrication. The oil is drawn from the sump through filter and pumped by means of gear pump. So again here you can see hot lube oil is drawn from the engine sump, and it is filtered and pumped by means of the gear pump. Again it is cooled in the oil cooler and again recycled back to the diesel engine. Here the hot oil is taken out, it is filtered and it is cooled also. So this is how the lubrication system works. The next one is the cooling system. So diesel engine will be at high temperature. That is, in an IC engine, the temperature of the gases inside the engine cylinder will vary from 35 degrees Celsius to about 2750 degrees Celsius in a cycle. If an engine is allowed to run without cooling, the cylinder walls, the cylinder and the piston will tend to assume the average temperature of the gases to which they are exposed, which may be of the order of 1000 degrees Celsius to 1500 degrees Celsius. So at this temperature, high temperature, the piston will expand and the engine will cease to run. So in order to see that the piston does not expand, we have to cool the diesel engine. So the cooling system is very important. The cooling system is required to carry heat from diesel engine to keep its temperature within the safe limits. The water pump circulates water to the cylinder of diesel engine to carry away the heat. The pump circulates water through the cylinder and head jacket. So the cooling water will be circulating around the cylinder head and the cylinder block also. The hot water is passed to the surge tank from the engine cylinder and head jackets. A surge tank or surge drum or surge pool is a standpipe or storage reservoir to absorb sudden rise of pressure as well as to quickly provide extra water during a brief drop in pressure. So this hot water is pumped to the heat exchanger to cool the hot water and is recycled back into the engine cylinder. So here the hot water is removed, it is cooled in the heat exchanger and supplied back to the engine. So thereby we have a cycle system here. The water is recirculated. This hot water is cooled by means of a cooling tower, additional circuit is there. So this is how the cooling system works. The last one is the governing system. The function of the governing system in diesel power plant is to maintain the speed of the engine constant irrespective of load on the power plant by varying the fuel supply to the engine. So suppose if you have a high load, in that case you can go for extra fuel supplied, additional fuel supplied. The load is low, in that case you can lessen down the fuel supplied. So thereby governing system will supply the required amount of fuel to the engine. So these are all the main components of the engine. Let us see one by one. This is the diesel engine, air intake system, fuel system, engine starting system, exhaust system, lubrication system, cooling system, and the last one just now we have seen, it is a governing system. So this is all about the layout of diesel power plant. To draw it, first you must understand and know what are the main components, then draw each circuits one by one to completely draw the layout of diesel power plant. It is nothing but an engine is there for which air and fuel has to be supplied, and the exhaust gas has to be taken away or given to the atmosphere. Okay, and to cool the engine you have a cooling water circuit, and to reduce the friction and wear you have the lubricating system. This is all about the layout of diesel power plant.